Hello everyone, hope everybody's doing peachy keen today. I wanted to do a color and chat just because I'm working in this book right now and I felt like sitting in my room and talking to myself apparently. But I am working in this book by Julia Rivers, and it's the magical fairy tales of Brothers Grimm or something like that. My title is just in German, but I know that they do offer. Sorry, I'm stuttering. They do offer an English version of the book, and the illustrations are by Forrest Diver. And I really like this book. I think it's beautiful. When I bought it, I only saw the illustrations on the back, and it was enough to entice me to get it. And it is an Amazon purchase. So I'm currently working actually on my first ever buddy color, so I'm so excited about it. I reached out to Danielle, Dani Buttons, and I asked her if she would be willing to do a buddy color with me, and she was so kind, and she said yes, of course. So we picked this page here, and she picked 3 pictures, and then she had me pick like the final one that we're gonna do together. And I picked this one just because the other 2 actually had people in it. Because if you haven't seen this book, it's just like different fairy tales. So like, for example, here, there's obviously people, and I'm just a little skeptical to do people. I've never colored a person before. So I picked this one, and it is the house from Hansel and Gretel. And yeah, so obviously I already started working on it, and I do like so far how it's coming out for the most part. I'm not the biggest fan of like these 2 parts of the house here. I think they look kind of flat, so I'm gonna try and do more shading on them, but I do like these 3 parts of the house up here and the rest. So I'm currently working on this lovely ice cream filled tree. So that's what I'm gonna work on today and just kind of chat. To be honest, I don't really have a full-blown plan as to what I'm going to talk about, but yeah, I guess we can just get going on this. I know Danielle already finished hers, so I'm a little behind, so I need to step up my game. And for the coloring, I am using my Arteza pencils. Oops, of course she's upside down, so it's just a pack of pencils I got off of Amazon. And I'm also using, if I can find it, this Uniball pen just to do like the white highlights. Like you could see, where did I use it? Like here on the ice cream, there's little whites. So yeah, if you ever see me using something white, it's this bad boy. So yeah, so welcome. It is my first color and chat that I've ever done, so make sure I'm in the frame. I did do a get to know me tag that, to be honest, is not doing so well, but it's fine. It's out there in case anybody's actually curious to know, who I am and such. So, but I figured I could talk about what it's like to live in Germany. So I am currently right on the outskirts of Berlin. But I am coming from the States. I was living in Boston for 2 years, and before that I lived in this, I almost said in the States. I lived in New Hampshire. So, sorry, I'm just trying to find a different color. So I am a Bostonian, and I moved here to Germany in October 2019. And to be honest, it was a very, very quick decision to come here. So I was living in Boston, like I said, and I applied to a master's program here in Germany, in this university. And I applied, goodness gracious, in like April maybe of 2019. And then I just never heard anything from them. I applied, I sent in all my documents. And yeah, they just never said anything. So I just assumed I didn't get in. So I kind of continued my life in Boston. I didn't tell anybody that I applied. I only told, obviously like my mother knew, my family knew, but I told one coworker because he was the person I was closest with at work. So I applied, and then nothing was happening. So I decided to kind of continue my life as was, and I signed a lease for a new apartment that I was actually super excited for. It was this amazing, really small studio, but it was adorable, in a brownstone, by the Fenway Baseball Park. So if you're a baseball fan, you would know what that looks like. And yeah, so I signed the lease. I was going to be living on my own for the first time. You know, I wasn't living at home at that point, but I had always had roommates or apartment mates, I guess. So it was my first time ever like breaking out and living on my own. So I signed the lease, and it was supposed to be for September 1st. And actually, there was a month gap between my two leases. So the lease that I was living in ended August 1st, but my next lease for that studio didn't start until September 1st. So I had a month in between, and my job allowed me to work from home. So I actually moved in with my parents for a month, and it was actually really nice. I love my family, and they live in the nature, so it was really nice to spend like a month of the summertime, you know, by a river, by a lake, and it was just really nice to get out of the city. So I, packed all my things. I moved out of my apartment. I hired movers that picked up all my stuff, and they put it into storage because, I was coming back a month later, and I didn't really want to be dragging my stuff to my parents' house and putting it in the basement and taking it out. And, I figured I would save my parents and myself the trouble because they were always kind enough to help me move. And, I have to say that hiring movers was expensive, but it was so worth it. If you're like on the fence about hiring movers for an apartment move or a house move or whatever, do it. It's worth every single penny. Like, you don't have to carry anything. You don't have to like break a sweat and worry about like breaking a limb. I legitimately just sat there and sipped my iced coffee. I tried to help them, but they were like, no, like, don't worry about it. Yeah, it was amazing. So anyways, I put all my stuff into storage, only brought with me like what I would need for the month, moved in with my parents, and I was working remotely. So I'm living with my parents for that in August. I get a letter from the German university, and they were like, oh, like, congratulations, you got in. So obviously I was kind of like, I didn't really know how to react just because I had given up at that point on getting in, and I had started kind of imagining what the next step was, like the apartment and everything. So I decided I wasn't going to come here. So I told my mother that I didn't think, it didn't feel like really the right time. I had signed this lease and everything, and I was really excited. My job was going well, and everything. So, and I said, you know what, like, I won't go this year, but I'll reapply next year, and I'll be better prepared. Like, I won't have another like lease signed and stuff here because I had already put a lot of money into that apartment. If you don't know anything about the Boston rental market, it is absolutely awful. It is so expensive. It's like New York City prices pretty much. It's really hard to find a good place and everything. So anyways, so I told my mother, I think I'll just go the year after. And then I get another letter from the university saying that they had so many applicants and they only accepted 45, and that their acceptance rate was less than 5% for the program that I applied to. So that got me nervous because, I didn't realize that their acceptance rates were so small for this program. And I thought, okay, like, yeah, I got in this year, but what if I wait a year and I don't make it in the year after? And it was a whole back and forth. It was definitely a tough decision to kind of give up the life I had in the States and just legitimately pack up my existence and move across the ocean, or to stay and give up this kind of amazing opportunity, So I ended up making the decision to come here, obviously. I just thought about, like, what are my reasons to stay in Boston? And the biggest one was that I was really comfortable. You know, I had my job, I had my apartment, I had my friends. And then I thought about it, and like for the rest of my life, I would have to tell people that I had this amazing opportunity to go and study in Germany, and I gave it up because I was comfortable. And to me, that just sounded awful. Like, I would not want to be telling people that. And I know it doesn't really matter what other people think, but to myself, I just didn't feel right. So I decided to come here, and I stopped my life in Boston. I quit my job. I actually had a second job. I was bartending on the weekends as well. So I quit both of my jobs. I backed out on the apartment on the lease, which was so incredibly expensive. I ended up having to pay for like multiple months after for an apartment that I was not living in. But anyways, I did it by the books with the apartment. But yeah, quit both of my jobs. I ended up having to retrieve all my furniture and everything from the movers, from their storage facility. And I, shoved it all into my parents' basement. And yeah, so that was it. I made the decision and kind of never looked back in a way. Between me, so I found out I found out like beginning of August, I would say, that I got in. And then October 2nd, I landed in Germany. So it was a very, very quick turnaround, considering the fact like how much had to get done between the apartment stuff, the furniture, the jobs, the paperwork. Germans love their paperwork. So it was a lot to do. My parents were super duper supportful. Can't thank them enough for that. But yeah, I landed here. I had found an apartment online before I came here, so I already had a residence here. And my apartment is absolutely tiny. It is very, very small, but it's in a building that's meant for only students. So you have to be either a bachelor's or a master's student to live here. It's not owned by the university, so you could be a student at any university you want. But just the company that owns the building prefers to only have students here. And I do have to say, it's super clean. It's super quiet, just because I did live in dorms when I was getting my bachelor's, and it was always disgusting. Like, it was foul. I don't know why. But it was. Like, it was just, oh my God. So it's very nice, very quiet. It's actually a brand new building, so I am the first person to ever live in this apartment, which is obviously super nice. But yeah, so I had this apartment already set up. I found it online. So yeah, I moved in. It's furnished. I did have to get things like plates, towels, like bed sheets and stuff, because obviously I wasn't going to move here with bed sheets. I was trying to pack other things and not have to bring like cutlery and stuff with me. So yeah, I moved in beginning of October. My semester started a couple weeks later, and I've been here. So now it's August 2020, so October's gonna be a year, which is kind of crazy. I feel like I've been here for an eternity. But to be honest, I know I've made the right choice. I love it. I highly enjoy my program. I am very fortunate. I met such nice people here from all over the world. So my program is in English because I don't speak German. So all my classes are in English. So everybody that I interact with does speak English, and I met incredible people from all over the world. And I honestly would not trade that for the world. They are lovely. But yeah, so we actually just finished the second semester. Well, the classes ended. Their semesters are different as compared to the American semester system. They have a winter semester and a summer semester, so you actually have classes through the summer. And like the winter semester starts in either end of October or beginning of November. So I just finished with my classes, but I still have finals and like projects to do and stuff for this past semester. But yeah, it's been lovely. Corona, obviously, I've been here for the whole pandemic situation. Fortunately, everybody that I know has been safe. And yeah, it's been really interesting. It's also been really hard because I don't have any family here. Yeah, I met wonderful people here, but it's not family. And it was really hard over the holidays because I didn't go home. So I haven't been home since I moved here, just because the tickets are obviously kind of pricey. And I just had school and everything. I do also have a job now. I have a student job, so they offer jobs to students here at companies. I guess it's not really an internship because they have internships here as well. I don't get school credit or anything for it, but you only work 20 hours a week because that's what you're legally allowed to do. Especially me being a foreigner, I have a work permit here, and it only allows for 20 hours a week, or maximum of about 20 hours a week. So I do work 20 hours a week. I have been working from home due to the pandemic situation. But yeah, so I haven't been home, and it's been quite difficult. For example, for Thanksgiving, we always have a big dinner with my family, and I was going to be alone for Thanksgiving. So I ended up cooking, excuse me, I ended up cooking dinner for my friends. One of my friends volunteered his kitchen because he actually has a really, he doesn't live in that apartment anymore, but he had a nice kitchen. So we cooked a Thanksgiving dinner for 8 people, I think. And it was really, really fun. Everybody pitched in. We made turkey and potatoes. We did the whole meal. I even made an apple pie. It was really funny. So I made, squash, with brown sugar, and we put it through the blender and everything. And all of my friends were in love with it. They had never tasted it anything like that before. They still talk about it to this day. And they're really excited for Thanksgiving again, just for the squash. And I did make also cranberry sauce from scratch. It was actually quite difficult to find cranberries here, but we managed. So I did that for Thanksgiving. And then Christmas was around the corner. And again, I was going to be alone. And most of my friends here were going home to be with their families because they're mostly European. I do have a friend from Brazil, but he actually did go back to Brazil for Christmas. So, yeah, I was going to be alone, and I was quite bummed about it because, holidays are supposed to be family time. But one of my friends here was generous and kind enough to invite me to spend Christmas with his family. So I feel like I'm going to be forever grateful to him and his family, who are absolutely wonderful. So I went down to southern Germany with him, and I spent Christmas there with his family, who are absolutely amazing. They're so, so kind. And it was great. I got the traditional German Christmas experience, which is always cool when you go somewhere and you get to experience the culture firsthand. And obviously I'm living here, so I'm getting to experience the culture. But, it wasn't a tourist-driven experience. It was genuinely just a family having Christmas. It was amazing. So I spent Christmas with them, and it definitely made the situation a bit easier, again, not being with my family, but it was still hard. We were sitting around the tree, which was actually really nice. I helped them decorate the tree with these little handmade decorations that his grandmother had gotten when she was in her 20s or something. It was just incredible. But we were sitting around the tree on Christmas Eve and they were opening presents because here they open presents on Christmas Eve. So they were opening presents, and his grandmother, the sweetest lady, she had actually baked me cookies. She baked these really, really yummy cookies and decorated them and stuff. And she gave me a little container of the cookies. And I was so like overwhelmed and so grateful that I cried. I just sat there and I cried, and I like tried to hide it because I didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable. But my friend definitely knew. He was sitting next to me and he kept on like patting me on the arm. But yeah, it was definitely hard because I had talked to my mother earlier in the day, and she was saying it was, the first Christmas that they had an empty house because my brother, he's married and they have a baby, and they weren't coming for Christmas, and usually I'm there for Christmas, and I wasn't. So it was just really hard, and there's a lot of emotions flowing. So I sat there and cried. But sometimes it happens, and it is what it is. But yeah, so I am so grateful to my friend for letting me come and be a part of his family's Christmas. I'm trying to convince him to come to the States this year, because I'm thinking of going home for Christmas, that if I do, he should come with me. Because it's only fair, I get to spend Christmas with his family, so now he should spend Christmas with my family. So we'll see. I know it's kind of a commitment financially and obviously time-wise as well. So we'll see. And the reason I'm thinking of going home for Christmas is because obviously I want to see everybody, but also my mother was going to come and visit me here in April. But then obviously the pandemic happened and everything was kind of, canceled. So her flight was canceled. So she never came. But she was able to reschedule her ticket for September. So she's going to come in September for like a week and, stay with me so I could show her around and just, spend time together and everything. However, the other day she got an email that her flight has also been canceled again. And that is because obviously as of right now, Americans cannot enter the EU due to the pandemic. So she's not coming in September. And I miss my mother and I want to see her. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, going home for not for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. We'll see if it happens again. It's just pricey, and who knows what the situation will be like in the world. Hopefully things are much better by Christmas time. But again, who the hell knows? So because I can't get locked out of, like, if I leave right now and go to the States, I won't be able to get back in. And I just can't do that. I have school here, I have a job, so I can't risk being locked out in a way of Germany. So I'll definitely be staying here and not moving until it's safe and I know that I'll be able to get back into the country. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So speaking of not moving, I do want to travel. So like I said, I am currently done with my classes, but I have an exam in October and a couple projects to do. So currently, technically, I am kind of free for a bit. So I definitely wanted to travel, but it's just, I can't leave the EU. So I'm thinking of traveling a bit around the EU maybe, but also I am still working, so I can't really go too wild and, like disappear for a month. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Awesome, it's an even number. But we'll see. So I did a trip to Hamburg, Germany last weekend, which is obviously in Germany, so it's not a problem. Took a bus with my friends. But I don't know, I was looking into going somewhere warm. Like I want to go and lay on a beach somewhere and maybe possibly get a tan for the first time in years. So we'll see. If there's any recommendations, let me know. I was looking at Bulgaria maybe. They have really nice beaches there. And yeah, I just think it would be really fun. However, their current corona situation is not the best. They kind of have a good amount of cases at the moment. And, I don't want to risk either myself getting ill or becoming a carrier. You know, I don't, even if I'm fine and I come back and not sick or anything, I wouldn't want to put somebody else in danger just for the fact that, you know, I wanted to travel. So we will see. I haven't bought any tickets or anything yet, so I'll have to look into what the situation is like and all those things to make sure that I am being smart about the choices and that I am being respectful to the people that I am exposed to on a daily basis and who are exposed to me. Sorry, I keep on covering up with my hand. I'm just coloring this little lollipop. But yeah, so far living in Germany has been wonderful. I really enjoy it. I got to go to the Christmas markets, which is something I've been wanting to do for years now. The Christmas markets are just stunning, like so beautiful. If you ever get a chance to come to Germany and around the holidays, definitely check out the Christmas markets. I went to multiple because I wanted to check out different ones. Some had like themes, like I went to a medieval one in Berlin, and that was really cool. But there's also just the more traditional ones. The food is so tasty. You know, they have Glühwein, which is like hot wine, and yeah, it's marvelous. But also I did go, when I first came here, like a couple days after me landing in Germany, I went to a little Oktoberfest in Berlin. So at that point, the one in Munich, so like the main one, the big one, was already done, or it was like wrapping up. And so I decided to go to something a little bit more local. So I went to the one in Berlin, and it was definitely not as big as the Munich one, but I still had so much fun. So I actually own a Dirndl, which is the traditional German dress that I bought off of Amazon. So definitely it's high quality. But yeah, so I got dressed up and it was so much fun. I met some really nice people there, had some beer, ate some food. Yeah, it was just fun. And obviously the Oktoberfest for 2020 in Munich has been canceled. It is not happening, which kind of sucks because I was hoping to go and see, just because, you know, I'm here, I might as well. So yeah, so that's not happening. So maybe next year I'll get to go. But I haven't heard anything about the Berlin one. So maybe the Berlin one will still happen, maybe not. I'm hoping it does still happen, just because, you know, it's much less people than the one in Munich. But obviously, I don't know, I think it'll be canceled just because it's still a lot of people clustered in one area. But my friends and I were thinking about maybe hosting our own little Oktoberfest, you know, obviously a much smaller scale. But yeah, the food here is so great. I love potatoes and like meat. So the diet here, the diet here is obviously exactly what I'm looking for. But yeah, I think that will be it for me for today. I did finish up this lovely tree and I worked on the little lollipop. Sorry, I'm quite a slow coloring individual. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like most people join these videos not for the coloring itself, but for the chitty chat. So I hope I wasn't too boring or too monotone. I actually wasn't really sure what to talk about, so I figured I could talk about this. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to write them down. Always happy to chat. You know, again, don't really have anything to hide, so feel free to ask anything. And yeah, we'll see you in my next video. Bye.